going on, guys? Welcome back. My name is The Seal and I'm restoring a 1974 Columbia 45, and today I'm going to be servicing the Johnson 25 outboard motor that's going to be going on the back of my boat. This here's the boat currently sitting in the Coronado Bay. Here's the motor. Like I said, it's a Johnson 25, and there's a couple things I'm going to do. First thing is going to be taking out those spark plugs, changing the spark plugs. And then, let's put this back. I need to service a couple of the lube fittings. There's a couple of them over here, so that's going to get serviced. And then there's a part for the gear lube, and then that's the drain plug for the gear lube. So I'm going to take those out and then change the gear lube. After that, fill this thing up with gas and then 2-stroke oil and see how this thing fires up. Okay, first thing, take the cowl cover off, put this down, and then take off the coil. And I'm using a 13/16 socket to get these guys out. And this is the old spark plug, as you take a look. So 2-stroke engine, so understandable that this is going to have some liquid on there, but I got the same replacement part. This is Champion L77JC4. So let's put this guy down, repeat the process for the second spark plug. This guy's out, same situation. These actually look pretty good, but I'm playing it safe. It was like $5 to get 2 new spark plugs. There it is. Here's the replacements that I got. I got these from O'Reilly. Same thing, Champion L77JC4. So let's take these out, and this is about as easy as it gets. So you just put them back in. I said put them back in. Why are we having issues? There we go. So let's put that one in. And you don't want to torque these too much. They have a ring on there that compresses as you tighten, but the spark plugs don't require a whole lot of torque. Put these guys back. And there you go, first step is done. Spark plugs have been changed. Let's put the cowling back on. Up next, let's take out the 2 old grease fittings. These grease fittings are the ones that provide grease so this engine can go up and down. So we're going to take these out. I'm using a 8mm socket. Here are the new grease fittings, so let's just put these in place. And tighten them down. These also do not require a lot of torque, so just give them a little bit of torque. And the last grease fitting is going to go in here, and this grease fitting provides grease so that the engine can rotate like this. So let's put this one in and tighten him down. Same thing, not a lot of torque is necessary. So there we go. All 3 grease fittings are in. Now that the fittings are in, let's grab my grease gun, insert it, and then grease this up. So some grease came out there. That's enough. Get this off. There we go. Same thing for the next one. We have some grease. There we go. Those 2 are done. Last one is going to be over here. And this one's probably going to require a good amount of grease because that shaft has a large cavity inside, so we're just gonna pump this up, fill this thing up with grease. This part, drain the grease out of the lower portion of the engine, so I'm just gonna tape off this part a little bit just to, one, keep the grease off the engine. Okay, so we were struggling with that before. I'm actually gonna use an old trick. You just take a hammer and smack the flathead, or whatever screwdriver you're using, to loosen up the bolt. Let's try this guy. There we go. That was a lot easier. And already, no. Okay, so that's all drained. It's actually a lot less fluid than I thought, so I'm going to replace the bottom bowl. So I'm using this SuperTech Marine lower unit gear lube. It is 10 or 80W90. Okay, let's take this guy and then start filling him up. We're all full of gear oil, so I'm just gonna replace upper fill screw, wipe off any excess oil, and take off this tape. Up next, so I'm gonna put a gallon of gas in there, and this engine is actually 100-to-1 mix, but it hasn't been run for a while, so I'm gonna do a 50-to-1 mix using this Quicksilver Marine Lubricant 2-stroke engine oil, and I'm going to use this 50-to-1 mix that makes 1 gallon. Then I'm going to fill this tub with water. It's sitting on these cinder blocks so that the motor has water while it's running, and that's going to let me test the impeller. Let's connect the throttle switch cable. There we go. Next is going to be connecting the transmission cable. Put these down. There we go. Next is this control wire that gets fed through here, and then you just make sure there's arrows. There's the arrow. Okay, that is connected. Next is the hot and cold lead from the battery. So the hot lead is going to go here. Make sure that's between the rings. Replace the nut. The negative cable actually goes right here. Should work for testing. Things. Now let's connect the battery. So we're going to do positive terminal on here and negative terminal gonna sit like that. Disconnect the fuel line. It snaps. Good to go. So we're just gonna prime. This gets lifted up for warm up. Make sure we are in neutral, and let's see if it starts up. Okay, got this thing running. The impeller obviously works because we're getting water. It took a little bit of time because this thing's been sitting for a hot minute, and one of the issues I had was I didn't have a clamp on here, so it wasn't getting a vacuum to suck the fuel in, but now it's running pretty good. I'm just gonna make my adjustments, and we got a running motor. I'm just gonna let it run for maybe 30 minutes, make sure everything is good to go. All adjustments have been made, so I'm really glad I did this here before I took it to the boat. Guys, thanks for watching.